Hello. Good to see you today. How are you? I have a couple of special things with me today. One of them is this flute that was made for me and made for us. Made for us by Gonchi. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. The feather helps me to know that I must be very careful with this. I want to keep it very safe, but also I feel that it's for ceremony and that I must take it out somehow into the places in the outdoors where the ceremonies are. I got up early this morning and practiced music with an intentional discipline. That's a positive thing for me to do. Have you ever known anyone with a camera on their forehead? Is it crooked? I can't tell. Oh. Oh my goodness. Yes, I've been practicing a lot with this equipment. I've been trying to do difficult things with this equipment, going out and taking as much as I can and really, I think it comes down to being willing to respond to a vision of a shot that I have in my head. And I find that if I will devote myself for a moment and acknowledge that there is a deeper purpose than sometimes I may see. Sometimes I become very short-sighted, very focused on the small self, thinking with the small mind. And when that happens, when I'm in that space, I might try to use all of this equipment for something very different than if I might try to use this equipment very differently if I remind myself that I am not myself. There's so many different ways we can say this, and it's getting more hilarious to me because language is always so slippery, and language never is the thing that we're talking about. However, I will continue to use words. Or maybe yellow elkskin gloves. So, I may set my intention. Gonchi told me, "You're not the only clown here." Oh, my goodness, my brother Gonchi. Oh, you can play the. Oh, you allow spirit to speak through you as you hold the flute in your hands. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. May we all find ourselves in the deepest love, with hope and faith in that love. May we remember the nosotros. Yo recuerdo Gonchi y Mirchu, Belki, Kime. Gracias, 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 gracias. I have another special thing with me today. It's a book. It's a special book to me. It was given to me by my first therapist, Penny. To Travis, become the one you dream you can be. All the best, Penny. This is a Pema Chodron book, and this book became very dear to me, and I carried it in my side pocket of my pants for quite a while. And I opened it this morning to this one. I have a connection to each one of these in here. If I read any of them, I remember something about it. I was devoted to this little pocket Pema for quite some time. And I got to share that devotion with my youngest daughter also. Thank goodness for editing. Whew. Mm. This is getting kind of pinchy on my head. Thank you for your service. This one's called Happiness Without a Hangover. As we train in opening our hearts and discovering the soft spot, we gradually feel more joy. The joy that comes from a growing appreciation of our basic goodness. We still experience strong, conflicting emotions. We still experience the illusion of separateness. But there's a fundamental openness that we begin to trust. This trust in our fresh, unbiased nature brings us unlimited joy, a happiness that's completely devoid of clinging and craving. This is the joy of happiness without a hangover. How do we cultivate the conditions for joy to expand? We train in staying present. In sitting meditation, we train in mindfulness and unconditional friendliness, in being steadfast with our bodies, our emotions, our thoughts. We stay with our own little plot of earth and trust that it can be cultivated. That cultivation will bring it to its full potential. Even though it's full of rocks and the soil is dry, we begin to plow this plot with patience. We let the process evolve naturally. At the beginning, joy is just a feeling that our own situation is workable. We stop looking for a more suitable place to be. We've discovered that the continual search for something better does not work out. This doesn't mean that there are suddenly flowers growing where before there were only rocks. It means we have confidence that something will grow there. We have confidence that something will grow here. As we cultivate our garden, the conditions become more conducive to the growth of bodhicitta. The joy comes from not giving up on ourselves, from mindfully sticking with ourselves and beginning to experience our great warrior spirit. Yes, the Bodhisattva warrior. Thank you. Thank you, Pema. That's who she is to me, Pema. I used to call her my Pema. That's how she was known in my house. I was devoted to her teachings. I've learned so much from her. I've devoted myself. And I find joy in that devotion. I cannot claim to be a perfect student, but I think that's really what she's all about, right? She's just saying, stay with it. Just keep coming back. It works if you work it. If it works when we allow it to happen, right? Uh, I've read in that book, When Things Fall Apart, the idea is not to get things together and for them to stay together, but yes, we get things together and then we allow them to fall apart just like they always do, and then we become willing to put it back together. we and we observe ourselves in this whole process. And we don't have to fret about it because this is what life is like. It's smelly, it's juicy. it's it's good like that. As we train in opening our hearts and discovering the soft spot, we gradually feel more joy. The joy that comes from a growing appreciation of our basic goodness. We still experience strong conflicting emotions. We still experience the illusion of separateness, but there's a fundamental openness that we begin to trust. This trust in our fresh, unbiased nature brings us unlimited joy. This trust in our fresh, unbiased nature. That's what I was going to say a moment ago. You know, Pema says she's a non-theist. I believe I've read her say that somewhere. Non-theist, which is kind of it's a non-aggressive way, I think, of not really having a God concept, possibly. I don't really know. I mean, that's all such personal stuff, but we do look at these types of words. We do look at these types of words, yes. I have studied, what it means to be an atheist, a non-theist, a theist. I have studied with my life these concepts that come with these words, these abstract ideas, right? And this fresh, unbiased nature. I believe that she is describing love, yes? She is describing, it's the first one in this book where she says that we have this soft spot is inherent in you and me, just as butter is inherent in milk and oil is inherent in a sesame seed. Just as butter is inherent in milk and oil in a sesame seed. This soft spot is inherent in you and me. It is our very nature that is that fresh, unbiased, open, non-judgmental, non-attacking, non-defending. This begins to sound like the Christ to me, yes? Courageous, strong, the lion and the lamb at the same time, yes? This fresh, unbiased nature. That's not Pema, but I'm making these connections, yes? Where these faith journeys that I've been on, in these moments when I have allowed great teachers to come into my life because I knew Penny was a great teacher in my life, yes, and then she passed on a great teacher to me, and I read these words. It often felt as if Penny was reading these words to me, or that I was hearing her. They were like with her voice. And so this is how we heal, yes, is we make connections, and in those connections we begin to understand that we are not alone. That as Pema says here, what does she say about we're still going to believe in the separate self? She says that somewhere here, I believe. Yes. That wind, I'm worried about the microphone. Ah, yes, here we are. We still experience the illusion of separateness, but there's a fundamental openness that we begin to trust. Trusting this openness, right? Trusting the one whose consciousness takes all in. The one who makes no defense, no attack. The one who is strong and courageous and understands as he hangs on a cross, even in that pain, in that shame, he looks at his brothers and sisters and he says, I understand. You're suffering. You're suffering. Father, let's forgive them because we don't even know what we're doing. And now I understand what it's like to be here. My goodness. This is Christ consciousness, as I understand. It's this courageous death, knowing that there is always resurrection. And then that voice continues to resound. That voice continues to resound from this perspective. And then I see it resounding, and no one has to make any proclamations that Jesus Christ is Lord for me to hear and see the Christ. Because it is innate in each of us. That fresh, unbiased openness, that love. And when we see past the illusion of separate self, we are free to experience this world as forgiven. We are free to die well. And therefore we are free to live in the most abundant state. Is this the promise? And if so, how does one truly discover this? If it's in Luke 14, it says, great crowds of people were following Jesus. He turned around and he said to them, if you want to be my follower, if you want to be my follower. And there was an intimate circle while he was here on earth, yes? As we have our intimate circles, yes? And we may touch many intimate circles or several intimate circles, yes? It's clear that salvation is not going to come from the top down. It must rise up from within each of us. We allow the kingdom to come here on earth. We allow the will of love. We allow the will of God to be done in us, yes? What is this like for you today? Thank you, Gonchi. Thank you, Pema.
A veces nadando contra la corriente, se abriendo camino, lengua de serpiente. A veces nadando contra la corriente, se abriendo camino, lengua de serpiente. Corre que te pillo, traigo vira, vira, cuando uno te quiere y con dos te mira. Corre que te pillo, traigo vira, vira, cuando uno te quiere, con dos te mira. El camino de la serpiente ya no tiene marcha atrás, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. El camino de la serpiente ya no tiene marcha atrás, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. Pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. A veces nadando contra la corriente, se abriendo camino, lengua de serpiente. A veces nadando contra la corriente, se abriendo camino, lengua de serpiente. Corre que te pillo, traigo vira, vira, cuando uno te quiere, cuando te mira. Corre que te pillo, traigo vira, vira, cuando uno te quiere y cuando te mira. El camino de la serpiente ya no tiene marcha atrás, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. El camino de la serpiente ya no tiene marcha atrás, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. El camino de la serpiente ya no tiene marcha atrás, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. Pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más. Pa' adelante, pa' adelante, pa' adelante, nada más.